Stevie Fast Jackson, KTR, with a pre-US Street Nationals 2025 and post-2024 race season engine development dyno day update. If you guys watched our last video on our 69 Outlaw Camaro owned and driven by SIDNEI Frigo and our Art of Inco racing team, we went at the Snowbirds 2024. We qualified 31 out of 64. Decent run, went 364 at 205 and some change miles an hour. We brought that thing here, bolted it up to our hub dyno, pulled it exactly as is, wrung its neck, and we came up with 3,404 horsepower to the wheels. One thing you need to keep in mind when you're talking about dyno horsepower numbers is everybody's dyno is different. We choose to run on a very conservative correction, so you'll see some of these guys that post some horsepower numbers that are pretty elaborate. Really, it just ties to the performance that we see on the racetrack. So we have a standard that we need to make to run X amount of ET, and our horsepower numbers kind of dictate that. We pulled the Shadow post Snowbirds 2024 also. Shadow went 361 at 208, almost 209. So we have a good barometer of what this thing needs to make. We took this thing apart after we dynoed it. We maxed it out. We worked on the cylinder head, worked on the piston design, worked on the camshaft, and worked on the valve train some over the last month. And I'm super excited to see what we get when we stand on the gas here. I'm shooting for 35-ish, 3,500 plus would be good. But we got to put it through the paces. We're going to take our time with it, make sure we don't go too far, make sure we don't, as Chuck Ford would like to say, make sure we don't trip on the right answer on the way to the wrong one, and we'll see what we got. So let's get going. All right, there's our dyno pull from our best pull post 2024 Snowbird Nationals presented by Motion Raceworks. Nice flat power curve. You can see us diving off a little bit in high gear, as most of anything will do. And 92 over, we made 3404.2. We're gonna see if we can do a little better. Okay, so we always do a short pull on the first pull. Make sure we heat soak everything, and in case anything's wrong, we don't blow the motor up on the first pull. So this is our best pull before post Snowbirds, and that's the pull we just made, eased up. So it looks like we missed it or hurt it a little bit right there. It's a little bit better right there, and then it's just getting really rich on purpose. Made 3349, so we'll call it 3350. So we're down 50. Spark plugs are good. We're gonna stand on the gas a little bit for a second pull, see if we can perk her up. Bob, what do you got to say about what's about to happen over here?
It's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fire.
Well, no, not fire. Come on, Bob. This car has mechanical fuel injection, so much like a nitrous system, the fuel management log, instead of adding nitrous to the engine, it removes fuel. So we put a bunch of fuel in it for the first pull, and we're gonna start taking a little bit out. As Luis at Fuel Tech would say, I'm about to adjust the pulse width. Here's your EFI map. We'll first put in there for that second pull. See, you got Art of Inco EFI maps. And then we got Steve Tech going on in the game.
I stopped that fan and I'm like, something's too quiet here. Yeah. They were on up until I thought it was started. Maybe they got turned back off. Because I know when we put valve covers on, they were still on. So they're still on.
Okay, folks, post T2, we did some stupid stuff. We took some fuel away in an area that it didn't like, and although it seemed like it would make more power, it actually made exactly the same. 3349.4, so we actually lost 0.4 of a horsepower. But it really kind of gigged it right here, and it never gets its head back up. One of the things you'll learn on the dyno is it actually takes all the myth out of it. Chuck Ford will tell you that it's just a lie detector. So a lot of times you think you do something to it at the racetrack and pick it up, and you'll actually run faster because you'll do something in another part of the run that picks it up. But this thing allows us to kind of see stuff in increment and see where we hurt it and where we help it. So we'll back up and punt on that. I'm gonna put some more gas in it on the way up, and then we'll pull a little bit more out up top and see if it'll work. What's up? It's a pig. I hope the plugs look really, and maybe the plugs do look really, because the exhaust is opened up. You know what I mean? All right, not there yet, but third pull 3414, so we're a little better than where we ended up. We'll see what the spark plugs look like, see what the parts look like, see what we need to do. So post dyno day 1, we made 3 pulls, ended up making 3414. Definitely not what we're after, but what we did in the cylinder head, the camshaft, and the engine department has cooled the tune-up down a lot, which is a good thing. EGT's way down. Engine tune-up is way safer than it should be, which is a good thing. We just got to be a little more belligerent with it. So we're going to change some stuff around for tomorrow and pound on her again. We'll see what happens. All right, folks, dyno day number 2 with SIDNEI FRIGO'S Outlaw 69 Camaro. So last night, in the middle of the night, we was trying to sleep, but we couldn't. We conjured up some things to make some power. We're going to change some stuff around in the supercharger fuel system today. Change around a little bit of stuff that we can't talk about today, and we're going to see if we can get to that number we're trying to get. So I want to know why 4 and 6 were idling like a $2 rooster and now they're not. Bob, what's up? We have seen success. So that pulled 3469. You can see it picks it up a little bit through here, and it also carries it higher through there. Average is up a pretty good bit. We're going to show you. We're going to make one more pull, and then we're gonna stand on the gas this time, and then I'm going to show you what we picked up average power from Snowbirds to here after this pull. It's gonna be pretty good. Hopefully the rods stay in. Our last pull post-development, we made 3482 peak, okay? So, pretty good sizable gain right there, 78 more horsepower peak. But what I'm super excited about is that average right there. So we averaged 3288. So from the time we ripped the deal until the end of it, it's 124 more horsepower over the whole pull. That should pick that thing up 300 to 400s and put it right there at the top of the field. Okay, so our pre-US Street Nationals engine development project is complete. I'm super excited to show you guys the results. We normally don't publish stuff like this. We normally keep it in-house. If a customer doesn't want his data shown, we don't show it. Sydney and our DYNO team are pretty excited about what we do here. This is the most fun part of what we do. So after 21 pulls post snowbirds, I'm going to show you where we started and then where we ended up after our last pull. Bunch of time, bunch of work, bunch of development. Huge shout out to our staff at KTR as well as our engine development team for getting us where we're at right now. The yellow pull here, this is exactly as the race car came off of the racetrack post Bradenton Snowbirds. That car went 364 at 206 miles an hour to qualify in the 31st spot out of 64 cars. It made a peak horsepower of 3404 and it made an average of 3164 over the pull. We literally took it out of the trailer, bolted to the hub and ripped it exactly like it was. Post development, after we worked on the engine in the off season, the red pull up here, we peaked 3,531 horsepower, and that looks good, but the big story is your average over here. So we picked it up from 3164 average to 3311 average with some modifications to the engine. Worked on the cylinder heads a little bit, worked on some compression, worked on the fuel system, did some other stuff that we can't exactly talk about. But that's real power. That's ET. That's run at the top of the field power. Just to give you an idea how good it is, the Shadow left the Snowbirds and qualified number 10th. We went 361 at 208, almost 209 miles an hour. And here's your Shadow pull. So when we left the Snowbirds, to give us a baseline, we pulled the Shadow exactly as it had went 361. You see it right there in the green. The Shadow peaked 3519 and averaged 3,251 horsepower. So after developing the engine in Sydney's car, he's averaging 60 more horsepower in average over the Shadow and peaking 22 more horsepower. You can see how much better it runs in the middle of second and out the back in high gear. It's going to be exciting to see what this thing runs. Again, this stuff's confidential. We don't normally show this or talk about this. Just want to give you guys a glimpse of what we do, and this is fun. This is absolutely the best thing that I get to do. Billy Stockland taught me a long time ago. Everybody looks for the big chunks. He told me if you will get enough small pieces and stack them up, you end up with a pretty big pie. And he's right. This is the fun part of what we do. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to seeing how this thing runs at US Street Nationals. And we'll have us a report once we get there. Thank you.